What is going on, guys? It's Brett. I want to talk to you today about the very first full-length Superman trailer that just came out. I have watched it a couple of times. I have thoughts on it, but we're going to go through it once, and then I'm going to kind of click around and talk about some of the things that kind of stuck out to me while watching this trailer. I have no doubt, given everything that Warner Brothers has been doing to YouTubers regarding The Last of Us, that there will be absolutely no monetization on this video, and that is fine. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play the trailer through first, and then we're going to click around to just specific parts because I had thoughts on it, and I also have thoughts on trailers like this in general. So let's go ahead and get started. This is Superman. It's starring David Corenswet as Clark Kent, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. This is directed by James Gunn, and it will be coming out in July. So here we go.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some
it's a
might.
lot of fire,
It's a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
It sounds like he's putting on a
Maybe.
voice in front of the mirror.
Not maybe. I did.
In
Like
effect,
he's being
you
Superman in front of
illegally
the
entered
mirror.
a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
Lex?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world. More.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
Okay, love the pipe right there. Feels like a very, very smart addition.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Score kicks in. Lots of camera movement. A lot of
choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation.
Love that line
I will
delivery.
not accept that.
Hated that line delivery.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Score's great.
You have a dog?
Okay. All right. Look, if I'm being completely honest, the first watch that I had for the trailer, I did not like it. The second watch, I liked it more. The third watch, I liked it a little bit more. I think it is important to give something that's maybe only for somebody in this position, you know, where you're making a YouTube video talking about it, is to get yourself more than one go through and watch it a couple of times and see how your thoughts on the material evolve, which mine did. Like I said, I think it was mainly the fact that we opened this trailer with Lois Lane and Superman talking about the ethics of being a superhero, which is just such an overdone trope that I just didn't feel it right when we started. I was like, okay, so he's taking the Captain America position from Civil War. You know, he sees something bad happening and he has to act no matter what. But the first thought that I had, and I hate to say it, was like, he says that Lois Lane says, look, you were acting as a representative of the United States. And he says, I wasn't representing anyone but me. And that was, you know, fine as far as line delivery. But the first thing I thought thought of was that they were kind of distancing themselves from the idea of truth, justice, and the American way as he kind of separates himself from the United States, saying he acted only at the behest of himself. Now, I fully admit 110% that, I work in a sphere that's mildly political, so that could be my own colored interpretation of what I'm watching there, and I don't know necessarily whether that was James Gunn's intention for something like that, and we all have our own biases when we watch stuff like this. I think that the number one thing that you're going to notice for a lot of people, and I already kind of saw it when I was looking at some of the comments, was they set it up with this really interesting concept of Lois interviewing Superman, except for Lois isn't interviewing Superman. She's interviewing Clark Kent, but she's just doing it through audio recording, and it immediately gets confrontational. And as far as fans go, I feel like that's kind of setting Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane up for an uphill battle with the audiences, because she's immediately being confrontational with the lead character of the movie, even though you can very clearly tell they're already dating at this point in the movie. I just think that, just speaking purely from the audience perspective, that's going to be, it kind of makes her, they're going to think it makes her look bitchy, even though realistically what it's doing is they're showing Lois do her job as an actual journalist, calling into question her subject and really raising poignant questions about Superman's actions, saying that he stopped a war. I enjoyed hearing him talk for the first time, but I'm not going to lie. When he's talking to Lois, he a little bit sounds like he's a kid doing his best Superman voice in front of a mirror, like he's over projecting his voice, which Henry Cavill didn't have to do that when he was playing Superman. Now, I will say, however, that he seems to get more emotionally involved. Like when he starts yelling back and forth with Lois, I wonder, again, armchair critic here, if maybe the best thing to do would have been to him to project a tone of reserved calmness and assuredness in his choices, in his actions. Now, I understand that he is obviously playing a younger Superman, so an emotional outburst actually makes a whole lot of sense in that respect. But given that this is your first real impression of Superman, it might color some opinions that way. But I do think that it goes to show that it shows Rachel Brosnahan, that it shows Lois Lane doing her job, which I really, really liked. I don't know if it would have been better if Superman didn't lose his cool. It was just something that came to my mind. The action looks great as you flit around these scenes. Look, they don't spare it, they don't go light on showing you the action in this trailer, and it's beautifully lit and well layered. It's not one of those things where it's a huge big budget action scene, so everything has to look like it's perma-dusk and you can't tell what the hell is going on and you have to squint. Everything is shown in the bright light of day in this trailer, which I really, really appreciate, given the fact that we don't see a whole lot of that, even in the big budget movies these days. For some reason, it's so coincidental. Every single major superhero fight happens just before dark. It's weird how that happens, right? It was great to see Pruitt Taylor Vince as Pa Kent. I really, really enjoyed that. He's just a fantastic actor that I've liked for a very, very long time. Generally, at least the way I think of him as a television guy, getting a chance to play Clark Kent, to play Clark Kent's dad, to play Superman's dad, I think that's a really, really great thing. Another thing that I think they did in this trailer was, I think that they may have made the decision actively, given the feedback in the initial trailer, to show a little bit less of Hawkgirl, a little bit less of Guy Gardner, and a little bit less of I almost said Taskmaster, of Mr. Terrific, thus thinning it out and giving you more of Superman and less of the other people in the movie, to kind of maybe obfuscate the fact that the movie is a little bit overcrowded as far as just how many characters this movie is going to feel. The score, however, was fantastic. It picks up in all the right places. Right as it's crescendoing at the end, you get these small cutscenes of Clark at the Daily Planet. You get to see where's this one shot of the woman who's I have to find it here, of the woman who's like throwing up the peace sign during the selfie while like Superman is battling outside, and I think everyone's gonna like this scene of Superman's mom cleaning, says, "I cleaned your boots and I'm gonna bring him back to you out here."
Yeah. I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
I love that, and I think that's going a long way to show that this is a younger Superman. I think that's fantastic. Also, the other thing that they do is they show Clark and Lois kind of doing their kiss as they kind of go into the air, and that closes the trailer, which kind of brings a natural conclusion, a happy ending to the beginning of the trailer where they're being, confrontational with one another. I would be interested to know, guys, what you thought of this trailer. Like, there's a lot to talk about here. We see a lot of Lex Luthor. There's one particularly bad bit of line delivery that I was kind of confounded by that, but Nicholas Hoult in general has a good air about him. It does give me the thought of Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor more so than it does, say, a Kevin Spacey. So we will have to wait and see about all that, guys. Let me know down below what you thought of the Superman trailer. I think that there is a lot to like about this. I think that the action being well lit. I think that Superman's voice, well, it does have this projection-y tone to it. It could have been way worse in that respect. I think that the back and forth with Lois, maybe the only down part that I don't really care for in this, because the idea of discussing the morality and the ethics of superheroes and crossing borders is just so overdone and blasé by this point. I don't know if that's necessarily how I would have led the trailer, but I think that strong, well-lit, well-done action scenes and competent, above-average CGI does a lot to sell it, and the score does a lot to sell it. I guess I most want to know what you guys think about David Corenswet as Superman, because that really is what we need to know by the end of this, right? It's not going to really matter whether everything else is perfect if we don't have a Superman and a Clark Kent that is able to carry this movie. It lives and dies on his shoulders, no matter what James Gunn would have you believe, because I did see a meme the other day that says David Corenswet in Superman's James Gunn, because it feels like this movie is more about James Gunn than it is about the character of Superman, and by that extension, the actor David Corenswet, because he has a lot riding on his shoulders to make this work. So let me know down below, guys, what you thought of all of those things in the trailer. Warner Brothers, leave us alone. I'm not going to monetize it. I know that you're thinking about it right now. You're already planning to demonetize this video. Don't even think about it. So let me know down below, guys. Warner Brothers, don't tase me, bro. We will be back with brand new episodes of Pop Culture Crisis. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.